Eugene Coffey Jr. and Sammy Boykin weren't just faces, they were heroes and just two of the thousands of African-American sailors who experienced one of World War II's worst home front disasters. It was 75 years ago, and few in the Bay Area remember.
It's a story of courage. It's a story of standing up for what is right. And it's a story that is right in our backyard here in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And it's a shame that people don't know what Port Chicago is about.
The town of Port Chicago was located in Sassoon Bay, near Concord. July 17, 1944, under direction from white officers, untrained enlisted African-American sailors were loading explosives onto ships at the naval base. At 10:18 p.m., two ships exploded instantly, killing 320 men. Of those, 202 were African-American.
The ship that was loaded with ammunition was completely destroyed. The other ship was blown in half. The stern landed 500 feet out in the bay, upside down. The explosion measured 3.4 on the Richter scale. It was felt down in San Francisco.
Memorials and plaques sit at the site today.
A lot of bodies were never recovered.
Many of the men had migrated from the South looking for a better life up north. Prior to World War II, blacks weren't allowed into the full Navy, and many enlisted after Pearl Harbor. And with segregation, the questions asked 75 years ago are still being asked today.
Why were there so many black sailors that were doing this difficult work and had not been trained properly?
The equivalent of more than 5,000 tons of TNT went off at once. The white sailors were given time to grieve, while the blacks were ordered to go back and start loading bombs again. Some refused.
Oh, the story is that there was it's called the Chicago 50, Port Chicago 50, who chose not to return, who refused to go back.
It's here the Bay Area played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement as the men faced trial for mutiny.
But even people that know the story of Port Chicago, very few of them realize that the trial took place here within the city of San Francisco. It's part of the city's civil rights heritage.
They were facing the possibility of death as well as imprisonment, and they still continue to go forward in this trial. The
50 sailors that went on trial as mutineers faced an uncertain future. What they could have never imagined was a legacy they left behind.
This particular stance of these 50 and the trial, and even though they were found guilty, was the beginning of the desegregation of the U.S. Armed Forces, with the Navy being the first branch of the U.S. military that desegregated directly related to what happened here at Port Chicago.
Of the African-American men killed during World War II, 15% died at Port Chicago. Saturday, the Treasure Island Museum will revisit a dark chapter in our nation's history, celebrating an act of defiance that led to change.
Even though they may not have used the language that we're using in 2019 around Black Lives Matter, they knew that their lives mattered.
Rob Malcolm, KTVU, Fox 2 News.